What's going on, guys? It's Greg here today, and I'm bringing you a Call of Duty Vanguard gameplay commentary. Nice voice crack on my part. Today we are going to be going over how to maximize your kills in Team Deathmatch and how to play Team Deathmatch and rack up more kills and try to run some flanks and all that kind of stuff. So I am going to go ahead into Photoshop, and we're going to break some things down for you guys so you guys can understand what I'm talking about rather than just sitting here and talking with the gameplay in the background. Because in my opinion, these gameplays, while they do show you a lot, they don't show the whole story and they don't show your thought process. So I'm going to go ahead and break down with old trusty Photoshop my exact thought process so that way you guys understand what's going on in my mind so you can start incorporating that tactic into your gameplay. So anyways, let's go ahead into Photoshop right after I explain the best streak setup for you guys to get more kills, and then we'll go ahead and talk about Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. So first things first, the glide bomb, the bombing run, and the fire bombing run are my favorite streaks for the big TDM modes. If you're playing smaller TDM, then you might want to use something like guard dog, guard dog, bombing run, and attack dogs. Or I mean, you could keep the glide bomb on, but it's not going to get you as many multi kills as it would in like a 20 versus 20 or 24 versus 24. So you might want to switch off the glide bomb, but other than that, the bombing run, attack dogs, or fire bombing run, depending on player counts, are definitely the best streaks. Local informants is good, but I don't really think it's needed in Team Deathmatch because of the way the spawns work. They're pretty much side versus side. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into my thought process and breakdown so that way you guys can understand what's going on in my mind, and then we'll get right back to the gameplay to give you guys some more tips. Alright guys, so I'm bringing out the good old Photoshop today, and I want to live record myself making some strokes here on the map so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's see, let's get a nice brush size here. Okay, that's pretty good, and we'll make it a nice bright red. So first off, let's say you're spawning on this side of Desert Siege. You're not just going to want to go ahead and, let's just say, run a route like that, right? The reason being is there's going to be a lot of people pushing from this side. They're going to come over here, and yeah, they're pretty much going to go ahead and give you the hot clap because there's going to be a lot of people also over here, and maybe some people sitting up in there. So you don't want to go ahead and do that. But one thing you could do whenever you start off on a map like Desert Siege, or any map for this fact of the matter, is go ahead and run a nice little flank here, and then you could go ahead and start attacking people. Now you do got to be careful, people who might be over here, but there is also one you could do if you're feeling a little risky and you're confident in yourself, is you go right through mid, you know, go up top and start peeking over this way. This is kind of like one of the ways I like to attack if I'm on this side. So another thing is, let's say I gotta do this again. Let's say I'm spawning on this side, like in the gameplay, right? So I spawn over here. Usually I kind of like to take this route, challenge anyone along the way, and instantly start peering into their spawn over here, just because that way I can start racking up some kills pretty quickly, because a lot of people like to sit in their spawn area, which is, you know, right around here. Not a lot of people are going to be contesting the middle of the map. Not a lot of people are going to be doing that because, for whatever reason, a lot of people just like to lay back, try to farm people as they start going to some power positions, maybe such as here, up on top of here, sometimes over at the cable car, some of these rocks. Snipers like to sit over here, you know, in these areas. So there's a lot of different areas on the map, but the different spawn pockets that a lot of people are going to be sitting in is going to be something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all this stuff, and let me go ahead and show you guys another thing. So like, let's say you're calling in your fire bombing run, because this is probably one of the most important kill streaks for maximizing your kills whenever you earn it. There is something, if you guys are going to tell me, like, I can't earn fire bombing runs. Well, there is something in the game called Dead Drop, and how Dead Drop works is it's going to let you earn your kill streaks once the entire match. But what it's going to do is whenever you activate it, it records your current score, and then whenever you spawn back in, you have a chance to earn those streaks like you never died. But if you die without Dead Drop active, it's going to take that away. So, sorry, someone just joined Discord if you guys hear that. Anyways, fire bombing runs. How do you want to place them? Well, you want to place them somewhere, I would actually say here or here, right? You want to place it towards the middle of the spawn because it usually comes in perpendicular to where you called it, and that means it's going to come in this way, right? So anybody that has to cross out of spawn is going to have to walk into your firebombing run, and they're going to get absolutely demolished by the flames, or they're going to be weakened and they're going to be lower health, or it's just going to get you a ton of kills whenever it drops across. So that is why the firebombing run, especially in maps like 20 versus 20, it is way better than the dogs. Dogs are better for smaller counts, smaller maps, stuff like that. But the firebombing run on these 20 versus 20 and bigger are just so good, and you place them like that, and it's crazy. So if you guys liked how I broke down this, I am going to be doing more map guides like this. This isn't actually a map guide, but I will be doing map guides where I do these drawings. So hopefully you guys like that. Let me know in the comment section below. But anyways, let's go ahead and get back to the gameplay. So since TDM is pretty much the objective here is just to get kills and minimize your death count, there are a couple things that need to be mentioned about this. A lot of people feel that as long as if they're not dying, they're helping their team out, right? So a lot of people want to just sit back, rack up a lot of kills, kind of camp a little bit, and just try to rack up some kills and not die, right? So that is not really the best mentality you want, because that's not going to get you the win. Sure, it helped it out, and it made it so you're not giving a lot of the enemies kills, but there's still a lot more teammates on your team that might not be as good as you, and they're going to be feeding the enemies a lot more kills. So this is kind of an argument that a lot of people always used to bring up back in the day, was that, well, as long as if I'm not feeding the enemies, I did my part, and that's not true at all. The thing that matters the most is your KD spread, and what I mean by this is how many kills you got minus the amount of times you died. So while at the same time you want to keep your kill-death ratio high in Team Deathmatch, because you don't want to be giving the enemies kills, and you don't want to be, you want to obviously be getting a lot of kills, you still want to be worried about your spread. And let's say you go 42 and 15. That's a 27 kill spread, right? So those 27 kills that you contributed towards your team over your deaths is much better than going, let's say, 12 and 4, right? Because you only had an 8 kill spread. You were less helpful for your team by still holding a 3 KD, going 12 and 4 compared to someone who went 42 and 15, simply because their spread was much higher than yours. So the contribution to your team and how much damage you are doing and how effective you are as a teammate in Team Deathmatch relies more on your spread rather than your ratio. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out and get like 30 kills and 15 deaths, because that's not really a good spread either. But what is a good spread is just having a lot of kills, such as 20 plus more kills than your deaths, and that's a pretty good spread count for something like Team Deathmatch, in my personal opinion, in the 24 versus 24. Obviously, 15 kill spread is much better in 6v6, where there's 75 kills to win, because, well, that's a fifth of the kills in the match. So you just want to be worried more about your spread than your ratio, is what I'm saying, and that way you'll be able to win more. You'll be able to be compensating for those weak teammates on your team that might have a negative spread, such as negative 15 from their kills to their death count. So worry about your spread, and hopefully I drilled that into your brains. So the last thing I'm going to talk about here is playstyle, and like I said, camping in your spawn is not ideal, and it's going to be really hard in these higher player count modes to break out of your spawn if 19 people, or whatever the player count is, are just sitting in spawn. It's going to be very hard to get out of a spawn trap. You're pretty much going to be spawn trapped all game, and you're going to have so many people holding angles on you. So those kind of games are really rough. I struggle in them massively just because I'm not getting any help from my team, and I'm just trying to contest the middle map the entire game, because map control in Team Deathmatch is one of the most important things. So the best way to counteract this is either to play in a party, or whenever you do get those kind of games, you just gotta lay back and play for streaks, man. That's really all you can do, because your teammates are not going to push up. I can promise you that. So the best thing to do in Team Deathmatch is to play angles, kind of like it's search and destroy. And the reason being is because you want to try to get the least amount of deaths possible while still having a great spread. So angles, you saw me in this gameplay just kind of holding angles where I'm not going to be exposed to by a bunch of enemies, and you guys will find a lot more success in that if you take these routes to go to areas where you can only be peeked from maybe 2 to 3 different angles, such as this area right here, right? They gotta either come up behind or challenge me from the front. So you want to try to find spots on the map that are pushed up and pushing enemies back. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.